Hello there. Hello there.
At last, where have you been?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
This is where the fun begins.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Jedi Eternal, if you even know what that is anymore. I am your co-host, Braxton Taylor, here with Andrew. He lives Bolin.
Oh, boy.
A long bout of sickness here. We are back in action, and we're glad that Andrew made it through.
Let me tell you, it's been a weird, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about 3 weeks.
Maybe a month at this point. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it's about 3 weeks to a month. I mean, somewhere through there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So to give you guys some information on what kind of went down, I caught the COVID.
Uh-oh. After all this time, right?
After all this
stinking
time. How far into this pandemic are we?
Over a year,
right?
I mean, however long. A year and a half now, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years, right?
Yeah,
In no time we'll be 2 years of dealing with this thing, and I had avoided it, then out of nowhere,
here it comes.
Just furious. And here's the thing: you guys might remember we had to quarantine a couple months ago. At least it feels like it was only a couple months ago, maybe longer than that. But because my wife had gotten COVID, but I didn't get it.
Yeah,
and so,
that's the funniest part.
So I thought I was invincible, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, it had to come around at least once because Andrew's like, I can't even get COVID. I can't get COVID.
Well, I really didn't think that good. I think, what I think it was is I had the Delta variant, right? I think the original one I really didn't get, but I don't know. It's super weird, but it kicked my butt, but I'm back, feeling
action,
much
baby.
better now. Yeah. So now we've both had COVID, so I guess we're on the same playing field now.
Yeah.
Can you
I'm
smell?
I'm
no longer better than you.
You never were. But anyway, can you smell and taste? That's all that matters.
I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm slowly getting my back.
There for a little bit, I was having some issues.
Yeah, same here.
So it was funny. I bought a huge case of Baja Blast, Mountain Dew Baja Blast, right before I found out I had COVID.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I had this huge case of it, and I was so excited that because it's not always in stores, but it was right now. And I bought this. It was a 24 pack or whatever, just planning to drink it all the time. And right after that, I got COVID, and I lost my taste.
Yeah.
And so I went to drink them, and they taste like throw up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I could taste, but it wasn't a good taste. It literally tasted like throw up to me.
Yeah, sometimes with COVID, they would it not just takes away your taste. Sometimes it morphs your smell and morphs your taste to other weird things.
And then another thing I love is Chick-fil-A chicken. And I had the Chick-fil-A chicken, and I went to go eat it. All I could taste of the Chick-fil-A chicken was the peanut oil.
Oh,
which is not even something you normally really notice, right? While you eat it,
thing,
but it's all I could taste. It was really strange stuff.
That's a little bizarre.
So anyway,
so we're glad that Andrew's back from the dead. We're glad that he did not leave us alone here on this great Jedi endeavor here. But also, though, we're glad that you guys haven't left us. Hopefully, we'll see how the viewership turns out.
We'll see how the view counts look.
Again, and we say it all the time, but we're so very thankful for those of you who have joined us and continue to join us. We like Drew said, and I'll reiterate it again. We have had quite a few little pauses here and there because of quarantine for two different times and scheduling conflicts. But you know what? We're very thankful that you stay with us, and we're thankful for part of it. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and quickly get into our regularly scheduled program here. And so let's just jump right into it. So our very first news story for the week, and some of this might be a little bit older. You might already be familiar with it, but we're just kind of catching up here. And the first news piece is that the Book of Boba Fett, which is that series that we've been knowing about for a little while, which is the independent Boba Fett series, has actually got a release date dropped, and we did post it on our Facebook page a couple days ago, and that is December 29th. That's when the first episode will drop.
Right after Christmas.
Yes, a nice little Christmas present for us all.
Yes. I think this is great.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I wish it was a little earlier? Yeah. I mean, I was hoping for I know they've always said December, but I was hoping for first week of December, right? Maybe even they'd sneak it up into the last week of November type thing.
Well, especially because we didn't get anything in November like we usually do with or October or whatever with Mandalorian, right? So
yeah, right. So this is kind of later, which again, it's like it's not that big of a deal. It's later. I'm still excited we're getting it.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's basically like a 2022 release, right?
Pretty much.
We're getting
yeah,
like the
pretty
first
much.
episode in inside of 2021, but
the majority of it will be in
right.
January and February.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm super excited. We did get like a little synopsis on it. Let's see if I can find it. It says the book of Boba Fett will center on the fan favorite character and mercenary Fennec Shan and how they navigate the galaxy's underworld when they return to Tatooine and stake a claim on the territory once ruled by Jabba the Hutt's syndicate. So,
okay.
not anything we
I mean,
didn't really
it's
already
kinda
know
like
there, but
stating the
still,
obvious, yeah.
I still expect to get like some looks back on
Yeah,
like
I
kind
hope
of
so.
what he was doing
Yeah.
during certain points, but yeah, I think this is going to be great. I'm excited.
Yeah,
very,
I'm
very excited.
Very excited for it as well. And like I said, I think it's going to be even over the top amazing. Like I said, if we get those flashbacks. But regardless of whatever we get, seeing Boba Fett have his own show, sitting
Yeah.
on the throne of Jabba, that's going to be awesome.
Well, and we know
nonetheless.
this is like basically the exact same team that we had for the Mandalorian.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like they're doing this instead of the Mandalorian this year, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
essentially, and we're even getting the same composer back, from my understanding. So it's just going to continue on. It's just like a continuation, basically. Just kind of focusing on some other characters for now, and so
Yeah.
it's going to be good.
It's going to be nice. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So let's move on to our second news story, and our second news story is we got a lot of stuff coming here if this is true, and I mean it supposedly is, right? The
Yeah.
the executives over at Lucasfilm, James, I think his name is James Waugh. I don't know if that's how you say his last name or not. But he said that there is going to be, I'm trying to find exactly how he words it. Well, I don't see it on here right now, but basically there's going to be 5 Disney Plus
Count them.
shows
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
that
Yeah.
hit on Disney Plus that are Star Wars in 2022.
Wow. Think about that. Five different
Yeah.
things coming to Disney Plus that are Star Wars related. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And so let's just kind of go
Yeah.
through what that would be, right?
Sure.
We have Kenobi, Andor, The Mandalorian Season 3, The Bad Batch Season 2,
Right.
and then Star Wars: A Droid Story, or is that what it's called?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. For sure.
I don't know, something like
It's
that.
something like
Or
that.
Star
yeah,
Wars
yeah.
droids, or I don't know.
Oh, wait. I think it is droids.
I don't know what it's
Whatever
called,
it is. It's not
So
that big.
we have a lot of stuff, and if you think about it, like there's gonna be very few breaks in
Right.
between these episodes.
Well, think about the releases for Marvel right now. Like we haven't really had but like a couple week breaks, and that's only been like
Exactly.
through 2 or 3 things now.
Yeah, so I mean, they went straight from Scarlet, or wait,
Yeah, what was it
WandaVision,
called? WandaVision,
which then they did Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah. Yep. And trickling into What If now.
And then they had Loki,
Oh wow. Yeah.
and
Okay,
now they're
never
doing
mind.
What If.
Okay, so that's
And
4
so
things. That's
when
4
you think
things.
about all those spread out, yeah, there's only been very small little gaps of time where there wasn't some MCU content to watch every single week.
Right. And that's potentially going to be mirrored next year with Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this rate, yeah, it's going to be very few weeks where we're not getting something Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet from, I think it was Corey Van Dyke, from back from the old, I don't remember what they're called, but they quit. But
Whatever there.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I'm just going to read what he said, because he does kind of have like a good idea, I think, of what this schedule could kind of look like.
Sure.
So I'm going to read that off to you guys. So he's thinking this is kind of what the year could look like. Book of Boba Fett starting in December, ending in February, right? Then Andor, starting in March, ending in May.
Interesting.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to hear. On a side note, we're gonna have to hear something about that sooner rather than later, if that's gonna be the true release date.
Then Obi-Wan Kenobi, June and July.
Yeah, I have heard other people say that too.
The Bad Batch season 2, July through November. And then the Mandalorian season 3, November into January.
Where's the droid one? Did you already say the droid one?
Actually, no, he doesn't even have the droid one on.
So it's
there.
like that could be
But
the wild card anywhere.
Yeah,
in there.
that could be anywhere in there, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know if that's a series. I think it's
It's a movie.
is maybe like a one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like it's gonna be
It's a
like
bunch of short
one,
stories type thing.
Yeah, I'm not
We
even sure.
talked about it, but it's
We
been a
talked
long
about it,
time.
it's been a
I
while,
don't really
and
remember.
honestly, we just don't really care that much.
It's not that big a deal for us. I mean, we're gonna watch it.
we're
We're
gonna
probably
watch
gonna
it,
enjoy
of course,
but
but
you know. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, potentially a ton of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are lovers of Star Wars media, of course. I mean, I'm sure all of us are. That's why we're here listening. And Andrew's dog is going crazy right now.
My dog is like freaking out.
Like he's like wrapping herself up in the cable for the.
She wants me to scratch her.
She's a weird dog.
She's very
man.
demanding.
Very weird dog. Always wants her butt scratching. It's just like disturbing at this point, honestly.
She loves it.
So anyway, potentially a lot of great stuff coming out next year. Super excited for that. But let's not delay any further. Let's go ahead and move on to our final news piece for this week. And that news piece is that there will be a new special coming out to Disney Plus celebrating Boba Fett, that little crazy mercenary we all love, know and love.
A little crazy bounty hunter.
That little rapscallion.
Rapscallion.
Anyway, no, there's gonna be a new special coming out celebrating Boba Fett, probably the history, and Drew might have some more, but it's supposed to be coming out on November 12th, so it will be getting us ready for that. Book of Boba Fett
I don't really have anything else.
No,
This was talking about kind of with the Disney Plus Day that's coming.
Yeah,
and they're going to release some different things along with that for people to watch on Disney Plus. This is one of the items that is listed. I think there's a good chance this is going to basically be let's catch you up on the character Boba Fett.
Well,
you're going to see some scenes from the prequels showing Jango, and you know what I mean. It's
we have the Marvel
Marvel
Legends or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
where it catches you up on all the characters before the show comes out. It very well could be something like that.
I think it's going to be. I definitely think that's what it's going to be. But if they're smart and want to please fans, they will show some kind of preview of the book of Boba Fett within this, right? Yeah. Like at the end, they'll show a little teaser, something, right? I mean, you would think, because it's going to be like a month later that the show is going to come out. So we're going to probably have already seen a trailer by the time this thing comes out. Or maybe this is when the trailer will pop.
It could be. And it could be a part of that.
It could be a part of that. The official trailer shows during that, or, there's...
Yeah, the final episode, quote unquote, is the trailer.
And we assume we're going to be hearing a lot more about Star Wars content on that Disney Plus Day.
Right,
we assume that maybe some new things will be announced and get a better idea of some of the things that have already been announced.
Well, and that's that's what I was blanking on earlier. That's what I was going to say is that we're kind of like speculating with whatever his name was like on the lineup. Well, I'm having a feeling that we're probably going to get that official lineup at Disney Plus Day.
I hope so. I hope they give us a good hey, this is our plan. Here's the order, and they're going to be released. Maybe not exact days, but at least like an idea of this is coming out in the fall. This is in the spring type.
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I think it's gonna be cool. Whether it's more of like a documentary type thing, like we've seen, or maybe it's like, hey, let's catch you up on this character type thing. Either way, I think it's gonna be really cool, and it's going to kind of get us prepared for Book of Boba Fett, which is going to be awesome within itself. So, that will conclude our news for this week, and we're gonna go ahead and move into our rumors. So our first rumor for this week is that Disney Plus Star Wars, the series for Finn, which is a character from the sequel trilogy, as you might well know, basically that series is reportedly moving forward. I think we talked about a while back, and it was tabled for a little bit for one reason or another. And the rumor is that they are actually kind of bringing it back, moving forward, and proceeding with that. So, Drew, do you have anything more on that for us?
Yeah, so they're saying that it's going to the idea is that this was actually going to be a film, okay, at one point.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that it's being reworked as a TV series, and that
Gotcha.
it's going to focus on Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, is this a continuation of his story, or is this
Origin
like a prequel,
story.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, because you
exactly.
could kind of see some of his stormtrooper stuff, but for me, it's like Finn kind of was just along for the ride until all of a sudden he kind of woke up from it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I have always said, and I still think that the Force actually is what kind of made him click in that moment, right? Because we know he's Force sensitive.
Well, and two, that's when he's getting very close to some of these characters who are very Force sensitive within themselves, and that might awaken it within him,
right?
Type
So,
thing.
So I don't really know that getting a show about him prior to that would really be something I even have any interest in.
It might have a few short clips where it like catches you up to where he was at that point.
If you want to have a story about Finn kind of like discovering more of his Force abilities and maybe one day even getting to the point where he becomes a Jedi himself, I'm a little more interested in that story.
Right.
But here's the thing. You tell that story, you kind of have to have Rey involved, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then it goes into, well, why would the story be about Finn and not Rey?
Yeah,
I think people are going to be like, well, we want it to be about Rey.
Right, and I think that's what I was going to say about that too, is that, I personally, when I, and this is still just a rumor, of course, but, I was sitting there thinking, I don't really know if I'd even want this, and I'm like, because I don't really care about the character of Finn. But at the end of the day, and this is something I've said on the podcast before, and a lot of people share this same sentiment, is that Finn was a wasted character. They really wasted his character, especially as the films progressed in the sequel trilogy. I think they really kind of, they set him up to be something more than he was. And then, but like I said, as it came through, they just kind of like, whatever, we'll focus on these other main characters. And so if this series can redeem him a little bit, I think that would be awesome. But again, you run into the problem, the way they set up the character, they can't have him without some of the other characters, and which then undermines the whole thing. So if this does end up becoming a thing, it will be interesting to see how they proceed with it. So
yeah, for sure. So let's go into our second rumor, and that is one I'm very interested in.
Oh yeah.
Heavy Rain developer Quantic Dream is rumored to be making a Star Wars game. This, I'll just be honest, when I first heard about this, I kind of like giggled to myself and kind of just moved on. I was like, that's really really silly.
Right.
If you guys have ever played anything from them, like Heavy Rain or
Detroit
Become Human, very great games, very strange games.
Right.
They're a little, they have kind of an anime flair to them, but they're not anime.
Yeah.
I guess it's just because they're like created kind of in the like Japanese style, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it, but this is, there's now been even more proof of this, right? Some of them coming from people that I really have grown to trust. And so now that they're reporting on this as well, it's really starting to sound like that this is a real thing. Yeah. And it's been in the works for 18 months already, is what they're claiming.
Yeah. So they've got some, if this is true, this is substantial work already been done.
Yeah, and if we go based off their style of games that they normally do, they normally do very cinematic, very story-focused games. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want
for
a Star
me and
Wars
Andrew,
game.
that's exactly what we
It's like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I love the really combat-focused ones too. We have some great ones of that. I think that Jedi Fallen Order is a great example of being able to run and jump around, swing your lightsaber, all that stuff. But give me a really like story, like narrative focused, choice-based, all that stuff. Which again, they're very choice-based in theirs too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, Detroit Becoming Human like that was like such an influential game to me. Like I don't know if I would say it's like my favorite game ever, but I remember like actually Drew and I playing this and kind of like trade off with one another. And since it's single player, we'd be at his house and playing it. And I just remember thinking like, this game is insane. I love this game so much because it's just so unique. It's so crazy. So anyway, if this is anything like that and it becomes true, it's gonna be awesome in my opinion. So
yeah, so this is something to definitely be putting on your guys' radar if you're a gamer. If this ends up being true, now again, right now, just a rumor, but if this ends up being true, it's like it could really be a big. What does that say?
I don't know if you can still hear us.
It's a black screen.
It's not done this ever before.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah. We do this every episode. Like something happens.
Well, yeah, but it's not usually. It doesn't usually do that.
Usually it's like a screensaver. That was
just like an all black screen with some little white text on it. I don't even know. I couldn't even read it. Okay, anyway.
We just need to assume that it's not turned off. We'll just keep going next time. So anyway, long story short, if it does become a thing, it'll be pretty interesting. We'll definitely report on that more as it comes forward if it is true.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so our final rumor for this week is that Star Wars is rumored to change the name of The Mandalorian after Season 4 comes out. Which is very interesting. And, Drew is definitely going to have more on this, but because we haven't discussed it too much, but just off the top of my head, as we can see in the end of Season 2, a lot of change happens. And, we focused a lot on Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever you want to call him, right? And then also now he is going off to be with Luke and train and do all this stuff. So I could definitely see after the next season or two how it could change. But to have the name of the whole series change would be very interesting. So,
yeah. So there's an end planned for the series, right? We've heard things like that before. We've heard that some people claim that season 3 will be the end of it. I'm not necessarily sold on that exactly, but this rumor is reporting that there is an end planned, but it will morph into a new show that sticks with the character's time period, but under a new name. This guy suggests a scenario where they're going to maybe change the show to The Mandalore or something instead of The Mandalorian.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it does feel heavily suggested that Din Djarin could eventually become the Mandalore, right? And so, like, if that were to happen, maybe they change the title of the show. For me, I think the show is going to continue the way it is until we get our big finale that all these shows are leading towards, which, again, in my opinion, is a new interpretation of Heir to the Jedi. That's just my feelings on it. But I think that after that, they're going to be crazy to get rid of Grogu or even Din Djarin, right? Like these characters are going to be around for a while, I think. And the best way to do that is, after a certain point, why not change it up a little bit, change a name, whatever, but these characters can still be involved. And can even look like a new show, but still kind of be following in the same path. And I think that might be the best way to do it once we get to a point where we're kind of closing this first story. Because, again, we're in new territory, right? These kind of things, Star Wars having these shows and everything, is new territory. And they can really decide how they want this to go moving forward. We don't have to follow the old idea of you have to stick with the same TV show name for eternity until you decide to quit, right? Why not?
Sure.
Once you're done with this first big part of the story, why not change the name?
Yeah, true. I mean, because the show is clearly morphing and changing within itself too. So
and it's like once you close the book on that, in a sense,
right?
But the characters continue on, but into a new chapter, you could say. Why not name it something else?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Give it a new face.
That's a good question.
It
keeps it fresh and new.
Introduce some new characters.
Yeah.
But then still have some familiarity there as well, and I think that could really work. So
yeah, I agree. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that's rumor, of course. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our releases this week.
Yes. So releases, and we're gonna do the next 2 weeks because, of course, next week we'll have our Let's Play, which I'm sure will be a catastrophe.
A catastrophe in motion.
Because we haven't played in so long, I'm sure that's going to be
I don't
something.
even know how to play this game anymore.
But on October 5th, we have the High Republic Showdown at the Fair. That's actually the children's book for Phase 2. So that, or actually, sorry, Wave 2. So be on the lookout for that. We have... on October 6th, we have Star Wars Adventures Ghost of Vader's Castle, issue number 3. The High Republic Adventures, issue number 9. Then moving on, October 12th, which I believe is a Tuesday, if I'm thinking right, that is going to be the release of the adult novel Ronin, a Visions novel. So if you guys have had a chance yet to watch The Duel, it's the first episode on Disney Plus, Star Wars Visions, which we are going to talk about here in just a little bit. But if you've watched that, this is the continuation of that story. So pick that up if you're interested. October 13th, Wednesday, we have The War of the Bounty Hunters, issue number 5. This is actually, I believe, the final issue in War of the Bounty Hunters, that title at least. And so there'll be probably some big things happen in that. We're getting Star Wars Adventures, Ghost of Vader's Castle, issue number 4. Also starting a new series in the High Republic called The High Republic Trail of Shadows. And that is going to be by Daniel Jose Older. And then we're also getting Dr. Aphra, issue number 15. And that is it. That's everything. So,
there you go.
Of course, a lot of comics. But also thrown in there is that new adult novel, which is always good news for me. So
there you go.
I'm sure I'll be reading it. I'm sure. Never mind. I'm not going to say that yet. No, I'm going to say it. I'm sure I'll enjoy it more than the anime.
Oh, wow. He's biased. We'll see. Anyway, we'll be talking about that in just a quick second. But without further delay, we're going to go ahead and get into our Q&A, which is not Q&A at the same time. So as many of you may know or may not know, if you haven't heard and you're about to find out, we have actually switched up our Q&A section and as to what we now call our community discussion section. And so what we're going to be doing now is that we're going to propose to each of you, instead of all of you asking us questions, we're going to ask you one question each week we do the podcast to you, the listeners, and then you guys will give us your thoughts and opinions, and we'll discuss that and mention them on air. And I figure it'd be a really fun way to kind of to change things and kind of refresh them and get a new, different way. And obviously that worked because there has been a lot of responses this week or for that week's post, and very, very thankful for that. Seen a lot of names that we've never seen in our Q&A post before, so that's awesome within itself. But this week's question was, what kind of Star Wars, quote-unquote, what-if story would you like to see or hear? And as we know, the Marvel has the what-if stories and how the characters have changed, or what if this happened, or what if that happened. We propose to you, what kind of what-if story would you like to see in Star Wars? Now, we do unfortunately have some time constraints this week, but with that said, we have a lot of responses and we would love to go over all of them. So what we're going to do is go over all of the questions and just I'm going to read them through very quickly. And then at the end, me and Andrew, we're going to go over maybe a couple of scenarios that we think would be interesting. And then maybe sometime in the future, if you would like to, we could go over them more in depth. But so our good friend JB says, I think we all need a what-if story if Jar Jar Binks ... turns into a Sith Lord. Which is, of course, that is the age-old question. What would happen if Jar Jar Binks did that? Then, also, forward, if I ever mispronounce anyone's name, I apologize. But Joshua McClellan says 3 words: Sith Lord Yoda. And I think also for us, what if he was clone evil Sith Yoda?
Evil clone, yeah.
Chance Eddington says, what if the rebels hadn't destroyed the first Death Star? Great, that's a good one. Very big thought provoker. Lane Dobbs with the controversy says, what if the sequels were actually good? Oh,
right in the gut.
Daniel Surbrick says, what if Palpatine was killed during the Clone Wars? That's a That's a great question.
Yeah.
Greg Stewart says, what if Darth Vader's suit had 4 arms? Taking some inspiration off of the old General Grievous from his Clone Wars days. That'd be interesting for sure. Alex Mason says, I would love to see what if Obi-Wan died and not Qui-Gon Jinn. It would be interesting to see all the repercussions. Yeah, we're not even going to discuss that at all in the future because we're not going to
think about such things.
No, I have to admit that is a big topic we could talk for a long time because that would actually be really interesting to talk about, but we just don't have the time today. I apologize. And let's see. Charlie Wiesel says, what if Disney never took over? Which would be very interesting to talk about. And then Andreas Rodriguez says, what if Ben had beat Vader in episode 4? That's a very good question as well. Again, so we would love to go in depth on all these, but unfortunately we just don't have the time today. But if you would like us to go super in depth in them in the future, please let us know, and we absolutely will. Now, I would like to go ahead and give maybe one of my what if stories, and then Drew, you can if you have one as well.
Okay.
But for me, I think it'd be interesting to talk about what if Luke died fighting the Rancor in Return of the Jedi. And because like in my mind, after the previous interactions he's had with his father, Darth Vader, right? I'm thinking Vader is already kind of questioning his loyalty to the Emperor Palpatine, and maybe even wanting to go back to the light side because he knew that his children lived. But I think also though a lot of that change to the light side happens during the final encounter that we see in episode 6. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see if that changed anything at all, if the rebellion actually would have succeeded, or maybe even Vader turns good after hearing about his son's death, kills Palpatine, and goes to rescue the rest of them from Jabba's palace. And I don't know, whatever that would mean.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting. I think he would still kill Palpatine for sure.
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah.
Because I think he was already kind of just waiting for the right moment for that.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as, like, I don't know if he would turn to the light side, though, because I feel like a lot of what truly made him turn to the light side was his encounter with Luke.
At the very end, right when he's going to the Emperor's chambers,
Yeah, I think if for any other reason he may end up killing Palpatine out of hatred and everything, and it would still kind of still be on that dark side path. But yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yeah. Do you have anything? I mean, we kind of discussed that.
Yeah, I have one that I think would be interesting is what if Palpatine hadn't killed Plagueis?
Ooh.
So what if Plagueis had still been around come the time of the prequels?
Yeah, because as we can see, what if Plagueis was just as devious as Palpatine was and didn't want to continue on the Sith tradition of
so you would assume if that was the case that Sidious would still be around too. He'd just still be the apprentice.
Yeah.
And so what would have happened had both of them still been involved in things, and what path would that have taken the galaxy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Again, I wish we had more time to discuss all of these, but we do not. We still have the main topic we have left to go. So again, if you guys have heard any of these and you'd like any of us to discuss any of those specific what ifs a little more in depth, let us know, and we absolutely can. And I'm also going to shoot Andrew's dog if you can hear it. So I was kidding. But anyway, so we're going to go into our main topic. So as many of you know, Star Wars released a very special mini-series with different various episodes, which is called Star Wars Visions. And of course, they brought in apparently some of the best anime creators from Japan to just take their liberty. And what is your how do you say it, interpretation of Star Wars, and how do you want to reflect that? Yeah. So of course, Visions came out, and a lot of those episodes are out now. You can watch. So this week we're going to go over some of the 3 best rated ones, which was the Duel, the Twins, and the Elder. Some of the other ones, not say that they're not good or anything like that, but the other ones are more kind of just simplistic. They're meant to just be funny. One's about music and a marriage and stuff. So these are the ones that are more like serious and stuff like that. So we're going to go over those.
And we might at some point try to rank all of them.
Yeah.
But for today, we're just going to talk about these 3.
So let us go ahead right off the bat. And we talked about the Duel. The Duel was the first one that we watched, and that was the first episode. So I'll just kind of go over my basic thoughts, and then I'll bounce over to you, Drew. So the Duel was, for me, I was really cool. I thought it was a very stylistic, rendition of Star Wars for sure. It definitely played heavily on the roots of what George Lucas based Star Wars off of, which was samurai and feudal Japan. He took a lot of inspirations from them, so they definitely played heavily on that. And it was, the world itself was, it was in an anime feudal Japan world, but it had Star Wars elements rather than, vice versa, right? Personally, I really enjoyed it. There were some things that were kind of like, kind of goofy here and there. Pardon me, but I think that overall, I really did enjoy the episode, and I really enjoyed the artistic styling.
I was
I know what you're gonna say. I already know what you're gonna say.
I was enjoying it to an extent. As for those of you who may be listening for like the first time or something, I'm not a huge fan of anime. Okay,
he's a little biased. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, like it affects my thoughts on this for sure. But like, Braxton's more the anime
enjoyer.
Yeah, I guess
the average anime enjoyer.
I don't watch anime, so going into this was very different for me.
Yeah,
but I was okay with the episode. The art style was kind of irks me. It's just, I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. But like, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And until we get, he meets this Sith woman, right? And they're fighting, and she's looks kind of evil and stuff. And I'm okay
spooky
with it. And all of a sudden, she takes her like wrap off, or mask thing off her hood, or whatever you want to call it, off her head. And surprise, it's Pennywise the Clown.
It's like Ronald McDonald afro every hair. Like, what's going on?
Straight up, Pennywise is standing there with these crazy 3-column like poofy hair things sticking out, and I'm like, what in the world? Like,
it was goofy. It was goofy. Yeah, it was goofy.
And I know it's anime and like stuff's supposed to be like out there, but why? Like, who made the decision to do
who
that? Who
signed off on this?
I'm telling you, they had watched it like the night before and then they're like,
I have a great idea.
Like, oh, I gotta. This just popped into my head. This is the perfect hair for this character.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I admit that kind of threw me off because everything else is very subdued, right? It's more like feudal Japan. It's very simplistic, and then all of a sudden you see that and you're like, what in the world? That kind of throws you off. And because here's the thing, and if and that's what they have to do, is if you want to go crazy, then go crazy with the episode, but stick with going crazy. If you want to say simple and traditional, then do that. You know what I'm saying? I think that was one thing that kind of threw me off as well.
Yeah, so other than that, the duel and stuff, it was enjoyable. It had some cool moments.
The fight was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and the sound design was really cool, I think, too.
The music was great. It was kind of like a mix of like Star Wars and The Witcher.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like if they had a baby, like this is the music.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall I would say that this was fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the twins. And so I'll just go ahead and just since in the essence of time, for the twins, I did not enjoy this as much. I enjoy anime, I enjoy Star Wars, but this particular episode, I just wasn't a huge fan of. Ironically enough, the twins was a little more traditional in terms of Star Wars, in the setting and stuff like that. But it also employed a lot of, very unique and interesting choices. One thing I think kind of threw me off is, first of all, the animation was pretty simplistic and not great in my opinion. I don't know. I just thought they could have done better on the animation, especially when you're watching the Duel and the Elder and stuff. But one thing I also didn't really love is how heavily they played on the Star Wars roots, right? Like for the Duel, it was very subdued, but for the twins, it was super literal. It was like, oh, we have the two twins, brother and sister. Oh, they mentioned the galaxy far, far away. R2O, R2D2, really? You know what I'm saying?
They had the twin sons.
Yeah,
it was very much like almost like their own retelling of Star Wars, and the characters of Luke and Leia, right? Like it's like they kind of just made their own spin on that idea, that concept.
But that's thing for me, it wasn't even just that, right? Like it's like they took everything about Star Wars and all these specific meta terms, and then just bunch them all into one episode.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one thing, and I'm like, I didn't love it as much.
For me, I hated this episode.
Oh, okay.
That's right. I just used the word.
See, that's the bias that he's
hated
kicking
it.
in. So someone who likes
No.
anime, my bias says, I didn't really like it. He
No,
hates it.
I hated it. And the reason is because it's so unashamed, like with its just... I don't even know. I don't even know what to
I know
call
exactly
it.
what you're going to try and say. You don't want to say it's so anime. That's exactly what you're going to say.
That's not fair to say, right?
It
Because
isn't.
It's not, and that's why I'm not saying it. It's not fair
That's
to,
what he
to
means.
say. But it is very much that like what you think of, right?
The
when someone's-
stereotypical
yeah,
anime.
It's very
Yeah,
stereotypical.
yeah.
And its characters and the way they like
How they speak.
talk and,
yeah.
and respond and all that stuff. It's very stereotypical. Where I would say the first episode wasn't as much.
Yeah. Well, and I think
but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
it's so that's kind of my initial feeling on it. But like seriously, at one point she's like, I don't remember, she says something about like, where are you going or something. She's like, where are you going? And he's like, to a galaxy far, far away. I'm
like,
"You
man, come
gotta
on
be
now,
kidding
brother,
me."
come on.
I was just ready to turn it off.
And see, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you know, put the voice acting aside or whatever, right? That's real anime. But it's like, it's just those kind of things. Like, really, you're putting these meta terms. Like, we associate a galaxy far, far away with Star Wars because that was the advertising with it, not because they ever said it in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that did throw me off a little bit. So.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about
Okay,
this one.
I'll go on then. So now though, the last.
No, actually, you know what? No, I do.
Okay.
The dude's standing around outside the ship, running around like.
Hey, I was gonna say you can't complain about that, and then you know have the Last Jedi where Leia does it
Hey,
and she's floating through
At
space.
least Leia's got like a force bubble around her or something.
She's not like talking and running around.
This dude's just running around on the ship like it's yeah.
Yeah, that was again. They definitely take their
Again,
liberty with
it's
it.
anime.
You know?
It's not canon, right? They're just
Yeah.
having fun. I get that. I get it. But my brain doesn't allow such things. Okay, it's like I can. Well, that's not true, because I can enjoy Lego Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just struggling with and something else about these that really gets to me.
Yeah.
And like my brain just has issues with it, is how it does things so un-Star Wars like, but then throws in Star Wars things into that. So like,
yeah, I think that
and honestly, these episodes we're talking about today don't do it as much as some of the other ones I've watched do.
yeah, these are the best ones.
Some of the other ones really do it. Like one episode I watched was almost completely unidentifiable as Star Wars, other than in a few different little ways. And it's like the liberties they take are almost a little too much.
Yeah.
In
yeah.
some aspects.
I think the biggest thing, and I think the reason why we can enjoy Lego Star Wars and even like the Duel and soon enough the Elder, right? We're going to talk about it in just a second. But I think it's because, again, the way they use Star Wars as a medium is subdued. Like they're taking things from the Star Wars universe itself and then incorporating it within the episode. With ones like Twins, like they're ripping things straight out of the universe that are like meta. Again, they're not even a part of the universe. It's advertising pieces, and they're inserting it directly, just raw into their show. You know what I'm saying? It's not subdued whatsoever. And anyway, I think it's, you know, because even with Lego Star Wars, as crazy as it sounds, they're even more subdued than that, because they're having their liberties, they're having humor, and they're doing a few little humorous things. But for the most part, if you go to Lego Star Wars, it's still Star Wars. You know, it's still, they're using the lore, they're using the settings, they're using all the different things that you would see in Star Wars. Anyway, so I don't want to take too long. We gotta end this.
Yeah, we gotta go.
But the last but not least, the Elder. I can just go ahead and say on behalf of both of us, this was our favorite one, because it's funny. The Elder was kind of in the middle, right? The Elder mixed both the Japanese influences with the more traditional Star Wars feel and settings. You know, the animation was a lot better than the Twins. I thought personally, I thought it was just much better drawn and animated. But then when compared to the Duel, it was a lot more basic. Now, which I don't necessarily mean as a bad thing. In fact, for Drew, I'm sure it was even a better thing. It wasn't the black and white. It was actually color, and it was just nice drawn anime, right? But for me, I was gonna say, like, I really, really liked this one. I thought the duel between the Elder and the Jedi was really well done. The choreography was amazing. I don't know. I mean, that's just all I can really say about it.
I enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
I did. I liked it. The art was good. I appreciated the fact that in most ways it was very identifiable as Star Wars, the Jedi and stuff. I mean, yeah, like the Jedi Master's hair was kind of like, you know, a little crazy, but
yeah,
but still, like that I can look past that. But like, you know, they were wearing traditional robes.
right.
They had like their ship looked good and stuff, but then they were going somewhere that was a little more like what you would expect from anime, right? But they were
Right.
going to this place, and so the art, yeah, was good, and I really liked the Elder.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's this
yeah.
like real like little old guy, right?
Mhm.
And like super creepy, and he's got
Yeah.
like super yellow teeth, and like he's just has this weird vibe to him.
Yeah, it's
And-
something very off-putting about him.
Yeah, very
that
off-putting.
fits a Sith, right? That
That
we don't
fits-
usually get a lot any other way else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you could tell like this dude is just downright evil, right?
Yes, exactly.
But he's very old, and because of that, he's not as powerful as he probably once was.
yeah, yeah,
And I found that story to be very interesting, and honestly, I would be interested in seeing more of that character in some
for
way.
sure,
Like,
for sure.
why was he there? You know,
Yeah.
and
And is he the last of the Sith? Was he ever even a part of the Sith? Or you know, yeah,
yeah. And again, as far as I'm aware, none of these are canon.
yeah. I don't
right?
think so. Yeah.
They've not said either way that I know of, but it's believed that really none of them are canon as of right now, unless said otherwise.
Yeah, and
So-
on a side note, also I do want to say, Andrew, a lot of the anime that I watch is actually a lot like The Elder in that animation style and the maturity and not the goofiness.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know if I believe you, but that's
Well,
okay.
you don't have to believe me, so.
You'll have to prove it to me.
But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed Visions. We actually did, you know, those three we went over, you know, overall, I think it was a really interesting thing. For me personally, the Duel and especially the Elder was awesome. The Twins, The rest of the other ones too, I haven't even watched all of them yet, but they're more of just, they're supposed to be goofy. They're supposed to be just non-canon fun.
Yeah, we'll try to give some quick over thoughts on the rest.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 weeks when our next podcast episode is. Maybe we can kind of give an update on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have anything else you want to say about it?
Not necessarily. I just,
All right.
I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please don't forget, you can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We are going to continue to be doing our podcast episode every other week. And then alongside that, we do our Let's Play of Knights of the Old Republic, which that will be what will be next Saturday at 2:00. So please watch those. We really need views. Please share them. If you see us post one, we would appreciate it so much if you share that video with your friends and family. Even if you just post it up on your page, that makes a big difference for us. So please do that if you don't mind. But we're having fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back in the seat here with you, Braxton, talking about Star Wars, which we love. And here's the thing, guys, we have such a huge year ahead of us.
Oh man,
2022 is going to be a huge year for Star Wars, which also in turn means a huge year for Jedi Eternal. So please stick with us. We've got a lot of great things in store. Until next time, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining the Jedi.